to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now, whenever I last left off, we had just gotten done with the entrance exam. So let us pick up directly afterwards. Ochako, she is floating to the ground. Deku and Kirishima actually helping to, stop her from flying straight up. They would get to the ground and land, as quite a lot of people are running over and actually checking to see what they did. Now, as that happens, Nezu would bring something to All Might's attention, telling him to get these kids together. He would like to have a conversation with them. Now, as soon as everyone would walk out and leave, All Might would appear, asking them to come with him, getting everyone's attention. They would listen, as we'll cut over to Principal Nezu's office. In Principal Nezu's office, he is telling them that he is having trouble believing something. Not only did all of you score within the top 10 on the, combat portion of the test, as he would hold up one of their papers saying that you all scored 100. This is highly unorthodox, and, the chances of this happening are very slim. So, if you don't mind, I would like it if you all retook the test, in different classrooms this time. As they would all just agree, Nezu finding it to be that they're a bit calmer than they should be. They've just been accused of cheating on a test to get an AUA. The physical portion, yeah, they didn't cheat on, since you saw what they did. But this is different. Now, everyone, they would leave and come back, arriving at UA. Them being put into different classrooms throughout the entire day, having pros keep an eye on them. Deku is actually being watched by Eraserhead. Eraserhead watching as Deku, he would sit down and immediately get to work, marking off different things. As for the written portion, he would write down exactly what he wrote, not even changing any of his answers or skipping them by a word, which would confuse and actually surprise all of them. Their answers are very similar, but they had no contact with each other. This being annoying to Nezu. He will have to allow this, since clearly they are not cheating. However, he does not know if they memorize things at all. So he would actually give them another paper, one that they weren't aware of, filling it out and completing it. Going over the answers, he would see that they didn't cheat on this one either. They all scored perfect. So that just shows that they're all very intelligent. Good. They will be fine heroes. Now, they would all be leaving. As soon as Deku opens up the classroom door for 1A, he would hear a sound, a large explosion. As he would turn, running in that direction. Everyone actually is. Kaminari, he would have ran out of the classroom he was in and immediately opened up the backpack, turning on his quirk, making these weapons he has that are basically flying balls immediately start flying around, as he would have brought his hands up with them basically floating around him. As soon as they would arrive, Mei would somewhat just apologize. She's apologizing to the teacher who said that this is the second explosion. If she has a third one, then she's going to be in massive trouble. You already are not supposed to be doing that, but just the fact that I let you slide is troublesome enough. As she would stand up, she'd be looking at them for a second until she stares directly at this piece of tech. She would be in shock and actually amazed, finding that this is the coolest thing ever. As she would begin asking them questions, them trying to get answers, which actually would be, well, hard to get. Him having to explain that he created these, and it was very difficult, and it took quite a lot of years. Him basically trying to go over the science about it, while everyone would leave, thinking that if there's no threat, they should all be fine. Now, after they all leave, All Might would pull May aside, actually talking to her, saying that he needs her help on a matter. Those kids are difficult and, well, different. He needs her to, as she would just say, spy on them, right? No, actually, I just need you to keep an eye on them. And spy on them. No, please don't phrase it like that. Just keep an eye on them? Yes. All Might somewhat, at least, happy she can do that, as she wants to know more and more about this tech. Now then, along with that, All Might, he would actually be going over some records, finding that Izuku Midori was deemed quirkless, until apparently 3 months later he manifested a quirk. So he may have actually been somewhat of a late bloomer, or possibly by the details of his quirk, it had yet to show proper signs of the mutation. Now, Deku, his record isn't the only one that seems to be a bit fishy. Looking through everyone's, they can clearly see that they are missing out some details. Shinsho's quirk has nothing to do with his height, his body, or even anything like that. No one else but Deku has this modification, as All Might would have eventually gotten annoyed, actually calling them in. They would arrive about let's say actually an hour before UA. All Might wanting to talk with them. Deku has scored the highest, and he needs to find a successor, as he would begin talking with Midoriya, saying that he has an issue that he might be able to help him with. Sitting down to talk with All Might. All Might going over that he has been looking for someone worthy of what he wants to give them. It appears that you not only scored as one of the highest, but are possibly a better candidate than, well, Katsuki Bakugo. His quirk is explosions, and I saw the way he used them. In fact, he used them quite well. However, he does cause a bit of, as All Might would just hold up his hand saying, too much power behind them. Deku knowing exactly what he means. Bakugo's regular explosions are somewhere around the UA Sports Festival, these being huge. Bakugo can tone them down, but he likes to feel the power behind them. So, Deku would be listening. All Might actually telling him about One for All, saying that this quirk is, well, as he would just buff down. Deku staring directly at him, he would not really flinch. All Might being a bit surprised, saying that he needs to find someone to pass his quirk to. Listen, my quirk, it's very powerful, as he would continue on, until Deku would stop him, saying that he doesn't really need a quirk. He's fine. Wait, what? I don't need a quirk, All Might. I don't even have one. Deku is somewhat just leaning backwards, before his eyes widen and he realizes exactly what he just said. All Might would just look at him for a second, a bit confused, actually somewhat demanding a bit of an explanation. Deku trying to at least just tell him that he was joking. It's just that You can't be serious with this one for all thing, right? All Might explained to him that he is. Until Deku, he would stand up and walk over to the door, telling All Might that he's not taking a quirk. In fact, find someone better. As he would go to walk out the door, he would stop for a second, saying to All Might that if he's looking for someone, then look at Kirishima. All Might looking down at his records, finding the file of a girl with white hair, as he would hold it up. Deku saying that she is powerful. She's actually quite, as Deku would somewhat turn away, clearly hiding the look on his face, saying that she is quite, well, skilled. He hopes that he picks her as his successor. Just know I don't want your power. Deku walking away. All Might would bring in and talk with Kirishima. Him giving her the quirk. Now, with that, the class would begin. These 8 are seen as the only ones there until everyone else would begin arriving, finding it a bit confusing. These 8 are all just sitting in their chairs, quietly and actually waiting. And Aizawa, he would finally make his presence known. Everyone's talking and actually explaining things, as people keep asking them about their quirks and how they use them. They would finally be told that they are going to be going outside for a quirk apprehension test. The test will be fairly hard, or at least difficult for some. Looking over at these 8, saying that he actually has planned something special for them. So, understand that this is how you all become heroes. Whichever one of you comes last will be expelled. As they would all go to get changed. Everyone doing so. Let's see, you have Sero and I believe Ojiro, along with, Shinso's replacing Ayama. Kirishima is a female. Yeah, I want to say the only other male that would be there was Sugarman and Tokuyami. So they would be asking questions about this, saying that all these guys are clearly in peak physical shape. All of them are actually somewhat scarred and heavily muscled. They are confused by it. While in the girls' locker room, they are actually talking. A lot of them are staring at Ibara, Kirishima, Momo, and Ochako, saying and asking questions about how they're even that strong. Jiro somewhat pointing out to Momo's arm, saying that her bicep is huge. What do you do to work out? Her somewhat just opening her mouth, saying that she does quite a lot of training. Actually, they do it a little too much at the church. Church? As Ibara would walk forward, slipping on her shirt saying that yes, church. Everyone, well, all of us are orphans. What do you mean? As they would just look around. She would just say that everyone here who has white hair, we're all from the same church. We're orphans who were abandoned. But, well, it's not going to stop us. Them immediately just having their jaws drop, realizing exactly what this means. If that's the case, then how are you all so strong? We train and push each other. That's it? Well, as they would think back on all the years of training, not even wanting to mention it. Someone actually shivering at the thought, which they can clearly tell, saying that they'll just go then. everyone walking outside. Now, this is where Kirishima, she would actually walk up next to Deku. As Deku would open his mouth while Aizawa is giving the explanation, whispering, "Did she talk with All Might?" "Yeah, I did." "So, that's a bit weird, right?" "What? A quirk that can be passed down, you're telling me?" As these two are just mumbling under their breath. The only ones able to hear their conversation are these 9. Now, with that being said, Aizawa would finally somewhat pay attention to this, as he can see Deku's mouth somewhat moving, asking him if he's going to say something. "No, sir." "Good. Now, if you cause a distraction like that again, me and you are going to, well, I will be giving you some detention." Now, as he would toss the ball over to Bakugo, saying that he needs to throw the ball. Bakugo somewhat smirking and getting ready. He would cock back his arm as he would throw it outwards in an explosion. Aizawa immediately watching the ball go from what was 700 meters in cannon to around 14 to 2300 meters. Shocking everyone. Which would actually throw Aizawa off for a second. He didn't know this was the successor. As he would call up Deku. Deku actually getting ready. Deku would be more tactical. He would take the ball and put it behind his back. Getting ready, he would immediately begin by cocking his arm backwards as much as possible and throwing it out with as much force as he can. Somewhat actually hurting his arm. Deku throwing it around 15 to 2000 meters. Everyone being surprised. Now, these 9 would continue by outperforming and outpacing everyone, leaving them in the dust. As Invisible Girl, she would be expelled from UA. And you have, let's see. Shinsho's already here, so you would have Kendo take her place. Now, for the heroes versus villains. Everyone would be getting dressed and actually getting ready. People actually commenting on a lot of the outfits they see. Their outfits aren't the standardized Warhammer outfits for the Space Marine. The females would be wearing an outfit similar to this, which is basically just remove the giant shoulder guards and all the spikes, and the gun. Imagine like a traditional robe with armor. Basically, chainmail underneath and covering your arms, a layer of cloth, a robe, or the armor above, and then a thick cape. Big enough and actually large enough to cover your entire body. Now, everyone will be wearing those. People actually commenting on this for a second, which they would have not really said anything. They don't really think they need to explain themselves, as they would just say that their outfits are all, good and all, but they're not looking for real flashiness. Now, I'm quite aware that if you guys are paying attention, those are Templar, this picture right here is a Templar outfit. Just remove the cross and make it black and red instead of white and red. Then you have what they would be wearing. Now, let us continue. All Might, he is a bit more intrigued at how the teams are. He wants to see exactly their combat capabilities, as he pairs up Deku with Kirishima, and Ibara with Bakugo, saying that Kirishima and Deku, they will be the villains. Bakugo and Ibara will be the heroes, as they would get ready. Deku begins by cracking his knuckles and actually somewhat stretching quite a bit. Kirishima just looking at her hand. She can feel one for all, but she's kind of confused on how to activate it. So what will she need to do? Deku walking over to her, saying that she needs to calm down. You're not going to get anywhere by just worrying yourself. So am I worrying you then? As Deku would someone just say, no. Listen, I know you can take care of yourself. We both do. Everyone does. But as a large vine would just shoot up out of the ground, cutting off Deku. Deku actually jumping backwards and actually slicing at it with his hand, or at least trying to pull it. This would prove to be ineffective, as he just pulls more and more vines out of the ground. Deku, he would actually get ready. Kirishima would begin by turning her hands into large blades and beginning to cut through everything she can, as vines begin shooting out of the walls and everywhere around the building. Everyone in the observation room would actually be a bit shocked, watching as Ibarra, she's just standing outside with her hair in the ground. So she's coordinating an attack. This is a bit more confusing. Now, Bakugo, he's actually running in, taking the staircase to actually get up. He would immediately be running in as he would jump upwards, grabbing the staircase, pushing off of it. Actually using one leg and one arm to basically do this over and over again. His arms are long enough and he is big enough to do so, barely needing to cause an explosion or make himself move forward with any more momentum. Finally arriving. Deku would bring his hands up telling Bakugo that he's not gonna win. Well, I'd say you're wrong, but usually most of our fights end in a standstill, so give me a challenge, Deku. Deku running forward, along with Kirishima still holding off these vines, stopping herself from getting captured. Deku would run forward, immediately smashing into Bakugo, him actually throwing him through a wall, as the two would begin to fight. Everyone will watch as these two begin to throw punches and actually get more and more angry at each other. As 10 minutes would pass, these two just keep throwing each other through walls and trying to, well, knock each other out. Deku going for an elbow and an uppercut, and smashing his hands downwards into Bakugo's head whenever he can. Bakugo is somewhat doing the opposite. He goes for jabs in the ribs, goes for the throat, and actually sometimes tries to go for Deku's eyes to blind him. He knows the weakness to one of the cybernetics, which he's clearly trying to exploit. As Deku would have finally had enough, he would feel his mark beginning to burn, as Bakugo would watch him slowly get more angry, and his rage and strength begin to build. Deku actually being able to pick Bakugo up and slam him over his knee, then grabbing him by the face and throwing him around, smashing him through more walls. Deku being able to pick him up, take him over to the staircase, and throw him down. All Might watching as Bakugo, he actually does somewhat recover halfway down. He would have been able to get his hands underneath him as he throws a powerful explosion, destroying everything underneath the third floor. Shooting upwards, Deku would immediately just jump down and bring an elbow down. Bakugo is riding upwards, face first. Deku, he is coming downwards, elbow first. As Deku would be able to sock into and actually break Bakugo's nose, and fracture a part of his skull. As soon as that happens, Bakugo would have grabbed Deku and begin by turning him around, blowing the roof off the building. As Bakugo would ride Deku down, immediately smashing him into the ground, actually breaking a part of Deku's back, which would have immediately healed. Deku being able to bring his leg upwards and smash it into the back of Bakugo's neck, as Kirishima would come running down. She would run forward as she runs directly at Bakugo, Bakugo watching her arm charge up it with electricity. He finds this to be a bit odd. That's not her quirk, as she would have thrown her arm directly outwards at Bakugo, smashing it into him. Bakugo would have gotten sent flying, along with breaking a lot of his ribs, and causing and inducing quite a lot of internal bleeding. If he wasn't so heavily augmented, he would have probably died, as he gets sent flying out of the building. As the wall gets blown off, and Ibarra basically gets hit and covered in rubble. As Baku gets sent flying through more and more buildings, basically being left unconscious, as his body shut down to let him heal. Deku, he's just standing there watching this, turning his face and actually seeing that she's just standing there with her arm outwards as it's actually broken, somewhat looking down at her hand, and holding it up. All Might watching her do this. She doesn't seem to be in any pain, but he can clearly tell she broke that. Jesus, these kids. As All Might just announced that the villains win, telling Ibarra if she needs any help. Deku and Kirishima would walk over, as they would hold up a piece of the rubble and Ibarra would immediately just kick her legs off of it, sending it flying into the second story of the building, confusing quite a lot of people. Are all of these guys really just this strong? As Recovery Girl would go to check on Bakugo, she finds him unconscious, basically half a block away, as she would have told All Might that this kid's injuries are all healed. She's not sure how, but this needs to be looked into. The boy's quirk is only explosions, so if you know any information about this, looking directly at the camera, saying that she would like some. Now, with that being said, everyone would return home to the church, actually hanging out a bit, finding this to be a bit simpler and easier to do, since they've been going easier on their training. It is still intense, but it is less mind fracturing than the normal Space Marine training, since they haven't had a librarian in their head in quite a long time, actually allowing them to properly be a bit childish for once in their lives. So, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.